Open as a company is a brainchild of Gerard Vrooman, who you may know from his days at Cervelo. After years of making outstanding road bikes at Cervelo, Gerard's next project was the Unbeaten Path, and the name pretty much gives away what the bike's aimed at. For a start, it's a completely carbon frame, as you'd expect from someone with so much knowledge, but it's designed to take two different wheel sizes. You can run it with either 650B or 27.5 inch, or if you want, you can put in a regular 700C road wheel. The clearances are unusual as well. You can run up to a 44mm road tyre, or a cyclocross or a gravel tyre. You could run a 28mm road tyre on a 700C, or you can run up to 2-inch 27.5 inch tyres, which is what we have on now. Each one of them is designed to give the bike a different characteristic, allows you to do different things, go different places, and that is really the whole ethos of the bike. Every Open Up is only sold as a frame set, so they're all individually built for their owners. It's built up with SRAM's Force 1, so you've got a 1x drivetrain. It's got a 38 ring at the front and a 1042 on the rear, which will get you over just about anything. 3842 is, wall climbing territory. It's also got a head bar, head Ardennes plus wheels, a zip stem which I stuck on it, NV seat post and a physique saddle. The tyres could be almost anything. There's quite a range of 2-inch or smaller. These are a Panaracer Comet Hardpack, which are a good small block design that work well on firm conditions, bit of dust, bit of gravel, even into sort of soft mud. Much beyond that, you're going to slip, but it's not a mountain bike. It's not designed to go absolutely everywhere in every condition. Obviously, it's a disc frame, but what's really quite clever about it, which you may be able to notice from the chainstays, is how they've created enough space to get these different tyre sizes and tyre widths in. You can have a frame that will take big tyres, that's not a new thing, but generally to fit in a wider tyre you have to lengthen the stays to allow enough room for them to splay out and fit the tyre in. For a start, the frame uses the BB386 Evo design, which was one of Gerard's designs anyway. What he's done here is managed to keep the chainstays to 420mm, which is pretty short. That's not much longer than a road bike. But to do that and allow space for the crank and the larger tyres, he's dropped the drive side chainstay very low, so it exits much lower on the bottom bracket. What this does is create space for the tyre and the chainring. As well as that, the seat stays have been kept very slim. From side to side, they're wide, so they're laterally stiff, so when you're standing on the pedals, the bike still performs well, it still drives forwards very well. But that horizontal flatness to the stays gives a good vertical compliance, so you still get a good amount of comfort from the back end of the bike. Because obviously it's a rigid bike, there's no suspension other than the tyre and what you get from the frame. Handling's pretty nimble for a bike with tyres of this size. Whether you're on trails or on the road, it's quite nimble to turn. There's no sort of waiting. If you want to turn into a corner, you just start to turn the bars and it'll react and it'll go where you want. It's not lazy, but at the same time it's very stable. So if you're carrying a load, if you're going downhill, if it's really bumpy, it'll hold its line really, really well. Clearly you can change, again, the tyre tread pattern, size and pressure. They can all make a difference to how that handles in that respect. But as it is now, I find this is a good compromise for single track stuff when it's drier, definitely good on gravel. And it'll get you between any gravel sections or paths you want to ride on the road pretty quickly. The response is great. You stand on the pedals, it goes. Clearly there's a slight delay because of the extra rotational weight from the tyre and slightly heavier wheels. If you fit a road wheel to it, it changes things again. It comes alive, it's faster, everything's a bit more, it's turned up a little bit high, it's maybe like turned up to 8 or 9. But as this stands now, it's a cracking bike. I really enjoyed riding it. The handling's good, the comfort's surprisingly good. Again, tyre pressure and size will have a bearing. But as this is, even with quite high tyre pressures in it, the frame layup has been done superbly well, as you'd expect from someone with the pedigree of Gerard Vrooman. It's got great comfort. You don't get big kicks out of bumps. If you hit some roots, you hit a big hole. It doesn't jar your back. Obviously the NV seat post helps in that area too. It's carbon, it's slim, it's going to take some of the sting out of any big hits. But they don't really get through that far anyway. As a bike to sit on for hour after hour, it's fantastic. It'll go as long as you want and you'll probably come back feeling better than you thought. Even with a 2-inch tyre on board, the clearances around the tyres are really, really good. The fork is epic. Even with this in here, I could get my fingers clean through between the tyre and the fork. Like there's loads of space there. And the back, while being a little bit smaller, it isn't much worse. Clearly, the narrower the tyre, the greater the clearance. I thought about riding this in a cyclocross race with a cross-sized tyre on it because the clearances are enormous and the balance is great, the handling's good, and it only weighs just over 8 kilos in this spec, which is very, very good for a bike of these proportions. It looks far fatter than it actually is. The frame is only a little over a kilo, which is testament to how well it's been put together. Fundamentally, because it comes as a frame only, you can build it in a way that suits you, in the same way that you probably will ride it in a way that suits you. In that respect, it really is open. It's open to your choice of components, your choice of how to ride it. But the bottom line is, whatever you decide to do, wherever you want to go, this bike's really capable and it will get you there. It will cope with most stuff short of serious mountain biking and fast road riding. It's the first bike of its type because it's bound to spawn some imitations. It's been superbly well executed and it's very hard to see where it could have been bettered, to be honest. I can't think of any features it doesn't have, but I wish it did have. And the name couldn't have been better chosen because really, Unbeaten Path is just where you want to go when you're riding this bike.